Hi, everyone. This is Hal Krosman with Screenwriting U. And today, for the alumni only, let's talk about what's next in screenwriting. And there's a whole bunch of things going on, but I especially want to focus on this one change. And it's something I've been talking about for a little bit, but I want to give you guys a chance to really kind of think through this and see where you want to be on this. So, this change is happening, and the change I'm talking about is there is a major shift going on having to do with artificial intelligence, having to do with writing, and there's some really interesting stuff happening inside the industry about it that's probably not what you expect. So we'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about the three futures that affect screenwriters that are going to affect you. I'll do a demonstration on how to create a new project using AI so you can see how that works. I'll give you an A-list strategy that has resulted in some writers having, 3 to 4 times the success that they expected. And in the end, we'll talk about the upcoming adventure, which is an alumni only writing incredible movies with AI and weekly Zoom meetings. So we are going to be every week, we're going to be doing live Zoom meetings with Q&A at the end of it. I want to make sure that you master this stuff. So let's jump into it. Dealing with change. I put this in the email, and I had a couple of interesting responses to it. Sometimes asking people to go through change, creates a reaction. So it was really interesting. But here's what I think. You have 3 choices when change comes along. And this is, hopefully you've got good changes happening in your life, even if they're bad. Your choices are to resist the change. And this doesn't mean resist the bad thing. It means, when somebody is just refusing to make change. Or often if the change is big enough, you get pushed into it. And the third possibility is to embrace it and to say, yes, I'm going to go with it. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to make the change in my life and do it in a way that's positive and healthy. This is what I'm highly recommending. I think the resisting often causes a lot of pain. When people are resisting change, especially when there's a change going on outside of them in the world and it's changing their lives, the longer you resist, usually the worse it gets. If you're being pushed through the process, it's uncomfortable. But I think if you truly embrace it, this makes you a winner. This has you coming out the other side. You were already prepared for it. You knew what was coming up, and you made the decisions that moved your life forward. Now, that's what I'm all about. And actually, I'm all about that in some areas of my life. There are some areas where I resist. I'm sorry to say that, but I got to be truthful about that. But this area about AI, let me tell you, we just went through a writer's strike. And because of that writer's strike, pretty much almost all the writers inside the industry spent 6 months in fear of AI being used against them. So in their world, during that 6 months, the studios and AI were the enemy. Because of that, they haven't adopted it at the rate that everybody else in the world has. And this is the part I want to tell you here, because this indicates what's coming up, the change that's going to happen inside this industry. It's already happening out in the world. ChatGPT 3.5 was introduced 13 months ago. Currently, we're in ChatGPT 4. And there's a whole bunch of other AIs out there now that didn't actually exist when this was introduced 13 months ago. So here are some of the things that have happened since then. In 13 months, 35% of the major corporations have started using AI in a significant way. 42% are exploring AI use. Within the next year, those companies will take it on, and by the third year, everybody will be using it inside major corporations. But think about that. Major corporations, they don't make changes that fast. And yet, in this case, they have. 9 out of 10 organizations are already saying that AI is a competitive advantage, which I believe to be 100% true. 77% of devices, like your cell phone, are now using some form of AI inside of them. Within the next year, it'll grow to 100. And in fact, it'll get to the point where within a year, if a cell phone doesn't have AI, people will consider it to be defective. And if you look at the population, we have 340 million people in the United States. Within 1 year, 116 million have adopted AI. Now, this, by the way, doesn't include babies and kids up to 7, 8 years old and that kind of thing. But I met a 10-year-old the other day who can use AI almost as well as the adults that I know. So, you know, this is changing. By the next year, this will be at another level. Here, I just want to show you kind of the growth when you compare it to smartphones. This is how smartphones grew, and you guys remember this. You remember when smartphones started, and you know, a lot of people were like, "No, I refuse to give up my BlackBerry." And then Apple just introduced some things, and it just went kind of crazy. That's 1/2 of what AI has done in 1 year. So I'm telling you, this is happening, and it is going to be happening in every creative art there is. Again, right now, we still have an industry that has a wound, but this will change. So let me just kind of walk you through, and you may have seen this before, but I just want you to see it because it makes a difference to understand where you are. When it comes to any major disruptive innovation, this is how it goes. It starts with the tech enthusiasts, the innovators, right? This is the people that created AI, you know, the ones who were behind the scenes or were part of it or created apps for it, all those kinds of things early on. Then it goes to the visionaries, the early adopters. This is us, right? As soon as AI came out 13 months ago, I spent some time working with it. Within a month, we'd already put together our first development team, and we started looking at how can we create things that will help you guys be ahead of everything out there. Then from there, and by the way, this is we're still early stage in this industry, but in the world, it's gone to this level right here. This is where our world is at the present moment. You know, if you look at it, 116 million people in the United States and 35% of the corporations are already part of using AI in what they do for business and life, right? Now, I want to go back. I'll tell you this in just a moment. Then comes the late majority. We haven't gotten there yet. But it's like, you know, the people who are like, you know what, I just don't think so. You know, I don't know how to use it. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't work for me, blah, blah, blah. All those, that's our late majority. And then finally will come the skeptics, the ones who every time you talk to them about AI right now, all they tell you is fear stories. So if you have a friend in your life who, if you say the word AI, they say it's going to blow up the world, you know, they might be right in, you know, at some point in the future, but the other side of it is depending upon what we do and the kind of people who step in, I think AI is going to do all kinds of amazing and great things for us. It already is. You just may not be seeing it yet. Now, let me back up. Again, we're here. we've been creating. We've got 3 different development teams behind the scenes that are working on creating AI for writers to help you guys be able to move forward. The problem is that our industry hasn't yet gotten over their wound. So if you're talking with people inside the industry, there are a few that are going to say great things. Like, I had a conversation with a pro writer 2 days ago, which is what caused me to present this to you tonight. And he said he and his manager sat down and they went over how to use AI together. He said it was a very, very positive meeting. So that manager is here. They're an early adopter. But the rest of the industry hasn't yet, as in from the writing perspective, hasn't yet come around because of the pain that they experienced during the WGA strike. But they will. They will very soon. And if managers are starting to talk to writers about it, then what that means to me is this is something that is starting to move into an area where it becomes something that everybody in this industry does. Now, let me take you through where this is. This is our future. The first future, it's the present to maybe the next 3 months or so. For the next 3 to 6 months, there's still going to be some fear in this industry. Maybe by 3 months from now, it might change, but for 3 to 6 months, there's going to be some fear and still left in the industry. And that's just because it was baked in so hard during the WGA strike. And by the way, just to be clear, I don't fault them for that. They really did have a need and a concern, and they did a great job at negotiating that and getting a great deal for writers having to do with AI. Currently, the agreement with AI, the Writers Guild agreement with the studios, says that writers can use AI, but studios can't. So just so you know, when it comes, studios can't write scripts with AI. They got what they wanted. The writers did. So because of that, I believe right now we're still 6 months ahead of them, plus or minus. That gives you a chance to be in the lead, to be there and be ready when they are, and be ahead of things, which is future number 2. I'm doing everything I can right now to make it as easy as possible for you guys to master high quality writing with AI. Now, this doesn't mean AI is going to write your stuff. That's not the case. What it means is you're going to be able to do high quality stuff with it. And I'll show you some of that in just a few minutes. And this is where, in my opinion, things are going. And this comes from a couple of conversations I've had with people inside the industry, but it also just looking at, if everybody else in this world is using this, why would this industry and this one part of the world be the ones who are still in the dark ages? So it will shift, things will change. And when they do, it's going to become part of professional writing. That's part of the future landscape, right? Anytime somebody's writing a project for studios, streamers, any pro writers involved are going to be using AI along the way. Even if they say they aren't right now, they will. We've been through this. You've probably seen enough of these kinds of things. You may know people in your life who said, I'm never going to have a cell phone. If you back up 15 years, I can think of 25 different people that I had conversations with who were like, I don't need a cell phone. I have a phone sitting on my desk, right? And now, does anybody have a landline anymore? It's things change and it's okay. So our job is to put you ahead of the industry, to put you in a place where you can be in demand and you can make things happen. Here's future 3. And this is where the industry is going. AI will become a major part of the movie and TV writing process. It's already in some parts of like budgeting and different forms of production. There are things where they have started bringing AI in. to help them move things forward faster and get things done, it's going to move into the writing process very soon. Writers will be using it like Google, but this isn't the big thing. Let me tell you where the big thing is. Producers are going to start to expect it. Now, I want you to think about this. Imagine you're a producer and you're working with, let's say you're working with 7 different writers, and 5 out of the 7, if you say, you know, I wonder if we change that structure like this, they can pull up their computer and in minutes give you 4 different versions of that structure. And you'll see how fast it is in a moment if you haven't seen this before. But really, truly, we did this the other day where 4 different people in our development team had different ideas for a structure. We created 5 different versions, mine and their 4, in about 8 minutes. You know, so producers are going to get used to that very fast. And they don't have to wait a week for you to change the structure. You can do it in front of them in 2 minutes, right? And after that happens enough times, that's going to be expected. But here's the other thing. Then because of that, managers will require it. As in, if you want to get a manager, you have to know what you're doing having to do with AI. And I'm not talking about like, you know, just going into AI and saying, can you do this for me? I'm talking about actually being able to make the changes right in front of them, to be able to shift things, to be able to create something completely new, to be able to look and say, oh, how do we do that with different characters? How do we change the character traits? How do we do anything you need to do? Our objective is to have you be the pro in the room. That's where this whole thing is going. So now, I want just to make this clear. AI is not going to be writing your scripts. We're not promoting that. We're not teaching that. That's a very different thing. What we are doing, though, is having you be the writer and you use AI to brainstorm at really high levels. So you may be thinking, like, for anybody who's already been using ChatGPT or Bard or Claude or any of the different AIs that are out there, it looks pretty easy. But if what you're trying to get is high level results, you need higher level prompts and higher level understanding. So here's how we use AI. First, as a creative assistant. Some of you were probably in my AI assistant program. And basically what we did, that was the early stages. What we did back then was I looked at it and I thought, you know, these pro writers, the A-list writers, they all have assistants. And they do this all the time. I've talked with their assistants. I've talked with the A-list writers. They'll turn to the assistant and say, hey, I want you to brainstorm 5 other characters that could be the lead, right? Or I want you to brainstorm a different structure, or I want you to do some quick research for me and find, what spies do in this particular situation. They have their assistants working their asses off as creative assistants. They're not just people that go get their laundry, despite the things you may have heard. So it's like the A-list screenwriters are already doing this. They're already using other sources. Why not us, right? So we created a program specifically on how to have AI be your creative assistant. So that's the minimal level. We also believe it can be the perfect brainstorm partner. And this comes from 5,000 brainstorm sessions that our development teams have done. You would not believe the level of complexity that you can build in and give AI, and it'll give you instant responses. Our job is to integrate this into our creative process, right? Don't don't stand back and wait. Don't wait for somebody to make it easier, all that kind of thing. We've essentially designed so many different ways you can use AI, and our job is to make it easy for you. You know, and we're going to combine that with these writing skills. So you'll see that in just a moment. But this is where I really want to go. I want people to be able to learn, to create, and think at the speed of AI. Now, again, if you've worked with it, you know how fast it is, you know how fast it can think. So what if you could stay up with that? What if you could create at that level? That's where I want to send everybody. So objective number one, you master it. You know, again, we've got these 3 development teams. They're designing AI strategies for you every week. If you were there today in our meeting, it was inspiring to talk to these people. They're so creative, they're so amazing, and they are completely devoted to this. And all we're working on is high quality prompts, right? High level prompts and strategies that make it easy for you to create, brainstorm, and think at this level. So again, AI doesn't write your script. Just want to say that one more time. But it'll help you brainstorm and create faster, easier, and better. And I'm going to show you, sometimes people think brainstorming is just about concepts or just about characters or whatever. Every part of your script, you can brainstorm and maintain the copyright. As long as AI isn't writing that draft for you, you can use it to create some absolutely incredible things. And that's our job. Second one is we want as many of you as possible to be stars. That's, you know, this is what I've been working on for so many years. But this time it's different. This time it gives you a chance to have almost instant success with the quality of your writing. And let me show you, I'll show you in just a minute what I mean. But what we're talking about here is better scripts than you've ever written before, having a better chance at winning contests because you are more creative, you have more interesting writing, every single scene is more incredible, having a better chance at getting optioned, making movies, getting representation, all of that. And ultimately to be able to come into the industry with this unique skill set that not only will people need in this industry, but the pros aren't yet stepping up. So this is your chance to come in before everybody else does. So let's do this. Let's do a quick demo here. I'll show you. Just a moment. Yeah. So this is, you guys, I'm sure you've seen this. And if you've been in any of our meetings, then you've seen it. But this is ChatGPT, and it looks very, very simple. But let me just kind of walk you through. I'm going to create a project for you. And I want you to be able to see what it's like to create a new project and how fast you can do it. So I'm going to time this also. So what I've asked it to do, I've given it right up here. I've said, this is an action thriller, and it may be hard to see. Let me see if I can make it a little bigger for you. There we go. Hopefully that works. This is an action thriller. The subject, this is not even a log line. The subject, a woman and her daughter on vacation don't know that they're transporting illegal spy documents, right? So if we were writing this, I would say that would probably cover up to your inciting incident, maybe the end of your first act, depending upon how you wrote it. So I'm asking it to generate concepts. So here's one. This is the first one. It has a title, Veiled Destinations. I don't know if I like that or not, but it doesn't matter. It gives us a concept right here, gives us the main conflict, a surprising twist, a deeper layer, and an intriguing world. it's giving us all these things because I ask it to. I essentially designed this prompt to be able to do this. So that's the first version. Here's a second one. And here's a third one. And I think I ask it for 5. Here's the fourth one. Here's the fifth one. So when you're creating something like this, and this is going to be, by the way, what I'm going to ask each of you to do, is to design and create multiple projects. When you're creating something like this, you get to make choices. And you also get to go through and look at it and say, is this something I want? What if you change this to that and all of that kind of thing? But we're just going to keep going. Let's say, let's go with number 5. Oops, hang on. And now let's take it to the second step. So we've got, again, we first started with 5 different possible concepts here. And if you didn't like any of those, you could brainstorm more. But then now what we're doing is we're asking it to create characters. So here come our characters. So take a look. We've got 4 characters. With each one of them, we know their role, their core traits, their motivation, their wound. Now, remember, all I'm doing right now is creating a project so that I have enough to be able to make a decision if I want to write. And again, if I was going through this, I would be going back and saying, well, I like this part of this character, but I don't like, this part or whatever, and making changes as I go. But this gives us at least our 4 lead characters. Let's see what we have. We have the mother, right? So, and then we have the daughter. These are the 2 who are on the vacation. We have a disillusioned ex-spy, and we have a mysterious organization's agent. So that starts it. Now let's go a little further here. And we're now going to ask it to create some structure for us. And let's do this just a second. There. Okay. So up here we have the characters, right? And now down here, it's starting to create structure. So here's our opening, our inciting incident, Act 1 turning point, midpoint, Act 2 turning point, climax, and resolution. So we've got a structure, at least a version of a structure now that has shown up. And again, I'm just creating something so you can see it. We're going to go one step further here. And now that we have this structure, I'm going to ask it to give us a quick pitch. So I didn't get a chance to really look at this structure. Okay. So here's the version of the pitch that we're using. And again, remember, right now we're trying to look at a project. We had an idea. We're trying to see, is this something we want to write? So we have a title up here. We have the genre and the genre, the action thriller here. Then Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. Again, this isn't something I'd put in front of a producer, but what it gives you is the opportunity to kind of read through it in less than a minute and be able to tell if this is something you want to write. And if not, are there some changes that you want to make? Now I'm going to pause, and yeah, let's do this. I want to show you this. That whole thing took 6 minutes and 1 second. So I came up with an idea that wasn't even a fully formed idea for a project. In 6 minutes, I was able to create concept, characters, structure, and a pitch to be able to tell if this is something that I'd want to write. Now, let me take you over here and show you where this goes. Because this right now you just kind of saw me do some things, but this goes someplace important. This comes from an interview. At one point, we had a master class that 35 or 40 of the people came to town. I did a whole series of interviews for producers. This guy came in, he's a writer. His name is Mark Roseman. And Mark Roseman said something that stunned me. I had never met him. And we were just about to sit down and do the interview. And I said, Mark, nice meeting you. I was wondering, this is an advanced group of writers. These people really know what they do. We have a lot of optioned writers in the room. Is there anything that you can think of that you think would make a big difference for them? And he said this to me. He said, yeah, I've had 8 out of 9 scripts produced. And I said, optioned or made into movies? And he said, made into movies. All of his movies are in the $15 to $30 million range. The majority of them have been done with studios. 8 out of 9. He's got the best track record of anybody I've ever seen. I've interviewed 150 A-list screenwriters. Nobody had that track record. So I said, okay, great. We sat down and I said, maybe you can tell us your strategy. Now, this completely just blew me away. Here's what think about what most people do. What most people do is an idea pops in their mind. They start playing with it. They start imagining it. And then after a while, they go, okay, cool, I got it. And they just start writing it. Here's Mark's strategy. He said, first, he generates a bunch of different ideas. So he just spends a couple of days making up ideas. And he says, some of them are full concepts. Some of them are just one part that just popped into my head, just like what you saw me just do. He says, when I get to where I have 15 or 20 ideas or so, then I select the ones that I think are most marketable. So he's doing this up front. He's thinking about whether it'll sell up front. He said, then I turn those into a short pitch, which you just saw me do, and I pick the one that works the best and write it, right? Now, this isn't a small thing. So I think the reason why most people just write whatever pops into their mind is because it was the only idea they had at that moment. And they started creating the details and they fell in love with the details. I think my experience has been most people don't think about whether something's marketable or whether it has a chance. A lot of people never write any kind of pitch until after the script's already done, right? What this guy was doing was something different. He was doing what it took to be able to make a good decision. And because of that, he's had incredible amounts of success. 8 out of 9 scripts produced. And that was 2 years ago. So I haven't talked to him since. Maybe I should go interview him again and see where he's at. But I thought this was a great strategy. Now, that's what we're about to do. That's what we're going to do in this program. You're going to pick some ideas. You take them through the 4 prompts. As you do, you'll elevate the writing at every step. You didn't see me do that because I didn't. But we have a bunch of strategies for how to do that. Like when you get to the end of the concept, you look at those 5 concepts, there are about 10 different things you could do at that point to be able to take them to a new level. and to be able to make sure you've got a great concept. Then you do things with each level, characters, structure, and the pitch. You'll do this every 3 days and end up with a total of 8 projects before you come into this class. So the class we're talking about is Writing Incredible Movies. It starts in, it starts in about 22 days. So that gives you just enough time to be able to do this. If you can come up with 4 or 5 before the class starts, then at least you'll be able to pick the best of those 5. If you're willing to do this, you noticed it didn't take me 20 minutes to do it. I did it in 6 minutes. Add in the other questions that you're going to ask. How could I improve this concept? How could I take this to a new level? All those kinds of things. Maybe it'll take you 20, maybe 30 minutes, somewhere in there. But you could create a brand new project every day if you want. This is something that will give you so many possible projects. And because of that, you will only write the ones that have the best chance of success and will make you the happiest in your life. So with each project, every one that you create, you get better at doing this, right? There's a difference between, if I just created one, like you just saw me do that, if I've only done it one time, probably I'm stumbling over it. I'm not really sure about some things. I'm asking the wrong questions, whatever. And I'll give you all the right questions to ask. But by the time I've done that 4 or 5 times, it's easy. Like you guys just saw me do that. It's incredibly easy once you've done it a couple of times. And once you get to that point, then why not keep creating projects until you have something that's going to make you a huge success? So that's what we're doing. Then you're going to pick the very best of those projects and bring it into the Writing Incredible Movies program. And that will have you writing the best of 8 projects instead of just one that popped into your mind. Now, this is beyond what we've ever done before, because what we used to do was we'd have people brainstorm a whole bunch of ideas and then pick a concept without making it into a project, without knowing how to brainstorm beyond that point, and without using AI. So this is going to give you a significantly better chance of success, I promise you. Now, the moment you sign up, what we'll do is we'll get you a 2-hour video that will walk you through all the details about how to do what I just did, except way better. It'll give you the 4 prompts, the exact prompts, so you have them. You will then take an idea, and while you're watching the video, I want you to go through and do your first one. So when you do that, I'll give you a list of questions for how to make it even better. So if it gives you a really good idea for a concept, you'll ask these 3 or 4 questions, and by the time you're done, that'll be 50% or 75% better. You know, if you're looking at the structure and you go, wow, I really like certain things, but it's kind of vague here, I've got a list of questions that you can use at that point to get AI to give you exactly what you need. So you will elevate the AI response for the concept, character, structure, and pitch. You will make all the changes that you think will help you. You'll bring in your own opinions. You will change things to fit exactly what you want it to be. And ultimately, you'll make sure each of those pitches is amazing. Then out of that, you'll make the best decision and bring that into the Writing Incredible Movies project, our class. So that's you coming in with a project that is already designed to sell. And that's one advantage that you're going to have. This is the program. And let me just walk you through it. Some of you have already done this before. If you've already gone through the Writing Incredible Movies program, I'm going to give you a special discount that's just for you. For those of you who haven't gone through it, stay with me and just look at this. We already have 35 people enrolled in this program. And what I would like to do, since I'm every single week, I'm going to be giving my time. I'm going to be spending the time to design what Thursday night is about, and then I'll be doing it live with you, and I'll be doing Q&As with you. I want to give as many people as possible a chance to do this. This is the only time we'll do it live, and I don't know if we'll put these recordings out ever to the public. I don't know what we're going to do with that. But at the present moment, I'm just going to tell you up front, I'm going to make this the most valuable experience you've ever had with writing. So here's the program. You know this if you've been through this. We start with what's your pitch, and we just went through this part of it. But I'll tell you, once you decide on your pitch and you bring it in, we have 4 other ways to elevate it during this part that I haven't shown you yet, that just involve more advanced prompts. Then we'll go from pitch to outline, and we'll be using AI to create the first version of that outline and to brainstorm it. You'll brainstorm it with AI. And every single lesson, you will have a specific thing you're doing. You'll be looking, like, for instance, at one point, you'll look at it and you'll say, okay, I've got this. Now I like how the story's told. Let me make sure the genre conventions are built in. So in this case, like the example I just gave, we would look at it and say, how could we build in the thriller genre conventions? And then how could we build in the action genre conventions? And believe it or not, AI will do that for you with the right prompt in about 45 seconds. And then you can work with it and edit it and change it and make it your own. Module 3, then we'll be looking at the characters that will attract actors. This is about designing a pitch, essentially, for actors. And we will use your creativity and AI's creativity to be able to generate the kind of characters that you have always dreamed of writing. In Module 4, now it's about making the outline incredible. Now that we have all 3 of these, we have your pitch, we have the early version of the outline with all the big key components. Now it's about how do you make every step of that outline incredible so that you have a complete screenplay laid out in front of you that you can write. Module 5, now it's high-speed writing. You're going to do that first draft at an incredibly high speed. When we get to Module 6, you're coming in with a second draft. And here the job is to solve the problems. So I'm going to give you a grid for problem solving that has a list of the 18 most common problems that are in scripts. You will look through your script and find any problem you can. It immediately will tell you what solution to apply. So you'll have that for yourself as a writer. We also will have some AI components that go with that, that will allow you to be able to come up with, 5 different possible solutions instead of just one for every single problem you have. So by the time we're done with this, you will have a problem-free draft. Then in Module 7, now you're going to elevate the quality. And this gives you the chance. We'll go through and elevate quality of structure, characters, scenes. We're talking big picture, elevating the quality. This is everything beneath the surface needs to be amazing. And again, we can do every bit of this you can do by yourself, and I'll give you all kinds of strategies for that. But also we'll give you AI prompts to be able to use it to be able to elevate the quality there. In Module 8, now it's about amazing dialogue. You are going to write your own dialogue on this. You're actually going to be writing the whole script, but you're going to be writing your own dialogue. However, I'll tell you that we've got some prompts that there are certain kinds of lines that you'll go through and find and use AI to brainstorm 10 different ways to say those lines. So you can, this is something that came from one of our writers who ended up making a deal with a big producer. He had gotten the script turned down by everybody he'd taken it to. And I just looked at the first page and I said, wow, you need to do something with this dialogue. And I recommended to him that he brainstorm 10 different ways to do the best lines. He then went out and brainstormed 10 ways to do every single line of dialogue, rewrote it, 15 days later, the big producer that he wanted to go to optioned the script and worked with him for over a year on that project. This can make a huge difference. Finally, in module 10, then it's about the advanced marketing campaigns. And what we're going to do on that, we already have 4 different prompts for the 4 main pitches that you do. So you'll be able to take your project, put it in, AI will generate 4 different pitches. It'll give you a phone pitch, it'll give you a elevator pitch, a 2-minute long pitch, and a 5-minute long pitch, and it'll give you a query letter at that point. And that's something you can do instantly. You could have it do 5 different versions of every one of those and pick the best ones. Now, by the time we're done with this, 2 things are going to happen. One is you're going to have a script that is better than you can imagine right now, because going through all of these processes first, this is a great class. It really is. We have some amazing processes. But second, the stuff we've just added with AI is like mind-blowing. Every single session that we've done with our development teams, we've walked out and everybody's pretty much stunned at what it does. So you'll be so proud of what you have created on this. Here's the deal. Let's see. There we are. 2 different possibilities. If you've never done writing incredible movies, this is the side for you. If you have gone through the Writing Incredible Movies program, then this is the special over here. Again, this is a 6-month-long class. If you've never done it, the special price, the normal price is $12.99. The best deals we've given on this program, I think, are in the 800s. If you've never done it, you can get in for $5.95, and that gives you the AI and all of the live meetings that we're going to do all the way through every single week on Thursday nights, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 where Cheryl and I maybe take a vacation at some point. But every Thursday night, we'll be meeting live and going through this and talking about that, whatever that particular part of the class is, and the prompts, and answering your questions. So I'm doing this special. I want you guys to be able to succeed, and I want to have fun with this. I want to have this be something that we all enjoy, and we get to go through it together as an adventure and that kind of thing. If you need a payment plan, this is the link for that. If you've already gone through the program, or if you're in it currently, you can get in for $400. If you need a payment plan, $75 a month for 6 months. By the way, Cheryl will be checking these to make sure. On the last one, we had 2 people that tried to skirt in, and then they had to come back and pay this. So please don't do that. So now that you've heard all of this, I just want you to just think about it for a moment. And I have a couple of questions for you. So here's the first one. How would you feel if you miss out on this opportunity? And I'm only asking this because, listen, we made this as inexpensive as we possibly could so that people would sign up, so that it gives you a chance to go through it. I want as many of our people as possible to have this level of skill and understanding. I want to give you the chance to make something happen. So, I don't want you to miss out on that. Second, just start imagining. What if you really could do both of these? What if you were a master at AI, right? A master at AI and a master at writing incredible movies. Because this is an amazing model. I promise you, when you do it with AI, you will learn it in a completely different way. You will be blown away by what you can create in seconds, and you'll be able to think and create at a level that's so much higher. And this will give you incredible confidence. And then the third question is, what would it be like for you to be able to win contests, to get recommends, to be in demand, to be optioned if you haven't been optioned, to have producers blown away by your work, right? That's what this whole thing is about to me. So, take a look at this. Pick whichever link works for you, write it down. Make sure you include the little these right here. So it's, like for instance, this one is Writing Incredible Movies, WIM dash alumni. Here, WIM dash live dash alumni dash payments. So just take a picture of it if you need it. Write it down, come join us. This price, we made this price available again this time. We were going to raise the price at this point. Cheryl said, right before I got on, I said, wow, you left the same prices. And she goes, I didn't mean to. I said, okay, let's just do it. So she says she's going to raise the prices in 4 days. So that gives you guys a chance to do this. So if you would like to go on an adventure like this and to master AI at a level that will blow managers away and producers in this industry, because this is beyond anything they have right now. When I was talking with that writer who's manager, and he talked about this, that manager did not have anything close to what we have at the present moment. This puts you ahead of everyone. If you'd like to do that, come join us. I promise you, you will love this program. You will have a lot of fun. You will go on an adventure, and you will be at a completely different level after that. So that's it. I'll close it out at this point. I'll just leave this on the screen for those of you who want to join us. I'm looking forward to talking with you in person on Thursday night, March 28th. And from that point on, we will be flying. So have fun creating your first 8 projects. And again, 4 to 8, create 4 to 8. Make sure you create at least 4 so that you have multiple different versions to try out and to look at. Also, so you get the experience and you know what you're doing, but have fun doing that. And I will see you again on March 28th. Great talking with you all. Bye-bye, everyone.